Hi, I'm Toby.
And I'm Savannah.
And this is Thrawn casting from a certain point of view. This is a video we wanted to do a while back. I think we even said it in our Sabine casting video. So this is one we've been thinking about doing, just haven't done it, just haven't had the time. And now that he's been mentioned in The Mandalorian, what more time than now to do it? A lot of other YouTube channels and people are putting out their own thoughts. So we thought we'd make ours and finally put it out there. Like, again, I think, man, I made this list a long time ago.
Yeah, we made this list like...
We made it before the Sabine list.
Yeah, we made this list like, I want to say almost a year ago, which of course we can say that and you don't have to believe us. But we made this list a long time ago, and it's funny because a few of the actors that we put on here, a lot of people have mentioned. So a lot of people do have the same ideas that we do, but we also have some crazy ones in there too, so. Yeah,
and some of our choices are more just for the way the actor looks, their stature, their body, not more for the voice. For some of our answers, we were thinking of maybe pairing a voice, you know, like they did with Darth Maul in episode 1. We thought that you could do the same thing with Thrawn and make it work. The top 3 that we like the best, those are the ones we'd want to see their voice.
Them do their own voices.
Yeah, the rest of them we'd like just pair it up with Mark Thompson, who voices Thrawn in all the Audible books. And he does a fantastic job. I recommend reading listening to the Audible books of Thrawn. So yeah, let's just get into it. These are our choices. We're trying something new with the TV behind us. Might as well.
It might not look perfect, but...
It might not be perfect, but...
obviously we're going from 10 to 1.
Yes, 10 to 1. Without further ado, the first one, Lee Pace. Again, sorry, the picture's a little bright there, but... So Lee Pace, picked him, one, because we know what he looks like blue.
It's true.
He played Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's played a villain who's not really part of their faction. It's, you know, he's not...
He tries to be a rogue villain.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
Does
he's more of the
thing.
rogue guy, which would be more fitting to Thrawn. I think he could really portray it decently.
And I think he would do good. I personally think he would do a decent job at the voice, but like you said, it could work out with just his physical features, but still having Mark Thompson voice it.
For me, I think his voice would be too close to Ronan.
Yeah,
I think
he'd go too much for that.
Because Thrawn has that kind of similar voice structure that Ronan has, so I think that we would just get too close. And for me, I mean, it could separate it, but in my mind, I'd be like, God, it's just Ronan. And Ronan was more of an extremist than Thrawn is. Thrawn isn't as extreme as Ronan is. So Lee Pace, I think he'd be good. He's got the jaw structure, which is a big thing I think for Thrawn, is that jaw structure. You gotta have that.
Thrawn's got some nice eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
Lee Pace has some nice eyebrows.
So, and I'm sure he'd look good with red eyes. You never know. Ralph Fiennes. I don't know. There's just something about a British guy that just is good at being British are good at being the villains. They got those. It's the accent, really. I think is what sells it.
I agree with you on this one. I don't think he should do the voice, only because like when he played Hades in the Clash of the Titans, it was just Voldemort. Like it was just Voldemort's voice.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really when he does the evil voice. That's kind of his evil voice.
So
like,
my fear with Lee Pace.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think especially here because I've heard Ralph Fiennes do other evil voices, and he just sounds like Voldemort.
It's just Voldemort.
So I don't think Voldemort's voice would be good for Thrawn's voice. So I agree that if Ralph Fiennes did it, he's got the good features for it. But I do think for sure Mark Thompson or somebody else should do the voice for him.
Fiennes has the face that is good for, I would think, for prosthetics and stuff. You can really shape his face more. He's
proven you can shape his face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can cut off his nose and it looks fine. So I think he could do a really good job at it. He could have the walk of Thrawn and similar height to what Thrawn would be. So I liked him. That's our number 9 choice, obviously. Coming in at number 8, Aiden Gillen plays Baelish in Game of Thrones.
Littlefinger.
So again, I like that he's not a huge star, so it wouldn't, it's nothing too crazy, and it's that face structure.
Yeah.
Even more for him than anybody earlier, than Lee Pace or Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
I mean, he has that. I mean, you can see it in there. It almost looks similar to the Thrawn picture we had right away in the beginning. He's cold. He's calculating. Thrawn is cold and calculating. He could do a good job at it. And
I think with him too, he could possibly do the voice of it. I don't think it would come off too Littlefinger, as long as he doesn't do an accent.
Yeah.
I think, well, granted that is his natural accent, but as long as he doesn't go too much into the British accent, I think he actually could do the voice well. And
again, one other reason I picked the British people are known to be distinguished. Their villains especially are very distinguished men and women. And Thrawn is that. As a Chiss, he's very distinguished. The Chiss themselves are very distinguished. They're about the 9 families and the ruling hierarchy, and everything has its, they're very much like that. and I think that would be a good reason of.
He's a distinguished man.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to be distinguished. I mean, I couldn't play Thrawn. I would be terrible at it. So number 7, Denzel Washington.
Not a lot of people have thrown out that name, like him as a name, and we might be one of the only ones to throw that one out there, but.
Again, he's got that distinguished nature about him. The facial structure again lines up, which is obviously the biggest choice for us. He might. I don't know.
I agree. Probably you would still need like somebody else to do the voice.
Yeah, I just don't think. Yeah, and it would just be interesting. I mean, I think we've seen Denzel be a bad guy before, but he wasn't that cold, calculating type of bad guy. So it'd be a new challenge, I think, for him, and it'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, it'd be a different role for him. He hasn't been that that Littlefinger or that Boulder. He hasn't been that
he hasn't been this huge
sneaky villain before, really.
Exactly.
So I think it would be interesting to see him try it.
Exactly, it'd just be interesting to see what he could pull out. And for the voice of Mark Thompson, I think it'd still be interesting. Number 6, Karl Urban, and this was an interesting choice. I thought about this one, and we probably should have put him a little lower on the list. I don't think he should have been this high up.
I don't know. I think
I'd like him. I think that I would like what he would bring to the table for Thrawn. I would think now that Thrawn's maybe a little bit more edgy. Maybe he's not as distinguished, and if they go that route, Karl Urban could capture that distinguishable, but also rough and kind of like edgy now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also think though that. Like you said, same thing with Denzel Washington. It could be just that challenge to not just be savage, be more distinguished, and
right there you go.
But the thing is that he does have those moments where he snaps the other way, and he has to do what he's got to do. He's got to kill somebody, or he's got to,
Exactly. He's always about preventing loss of life, but sometimes that's just not possible. It just again, like Denzel, I think these are our 2 big wild cards. These are the 2 that we thought that would be crazy interesting. Be interesting to see what they bring to the table for those. Number 5, Michael Fassbender.
This one's been thrown out a lot.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most one that I've seen out there for people that what everybody else has wanted. Again, he'd be good. He does a great job as Magneto. We know he can be the villain. He's cool. He's calculating. He's British.
He does have a cool calculating voice. So I mean, you could do the voice of Mark Thompson, or he could do his own voice.
He could maybe pull out his own voice. Yeah. I'd like to. It'd be interesting. Again, he knows how to carry himself. He's got that facial structure that we always keep going back to, because I think that's just a huge part of it.
Well, a huge part of Thrawn is that facial structure,
and you don't want it to be too, you don't want to have to use any CGI, and you don't want to have to use too many prosthetics. You want their face to be very much.
You want to have a good base of it.
Exactly. That was the best part about Rosario Dawson. She had that good base for Ahsoka's face, and then you had to put on the prosthetics, but.
But you don't want to have to. You don't want to have to put on 20,000 layers of makeup. Then it's just going to be torture.
Exactly. It'd be interesting. I think he would do a good job. Number 4, Jon Hamm.
This one's been thrown out once or twice. I've seen this one before.
This one, I would like to see it. It would be interesting. I mainly for the reason I chose Jon Hamm is he's a decent actor. He's never played a big bad guy, so that would be a challenge for him. And back to that facial structure. That was pretty much one reason that led me to Jon Hamm.
I definitely don't think he should do the voice, though. I think somebody else would have to voice it, because he's got too much of that, I think, comedic tone in his voice. I mean, he might be able to push it. We don't know. He might be able to have that range and push it out, but I just think it would be. He's
always got that underlying humor with his voice. It always sounds like he's about to tell you a joke.
Yeah, so I mean, which he could change. We don't know.
Yeah.
Right, which he could be able to change it. We don't know, but I kind of think just based on the roles we've seen him in that somebody else would have to do the voice.
Mm-hmm. Right, I would agree. Mark Strong, number 3. Mark Strong's voice, I think, could do it. We know he can be that. Could lead up to a cool calculating. He was in Green Lantern and Shazam, where he played villains of both of those. Shazam villain is whatever. He was more the villain I was talking about as Sinestro in Green Lantern. We know he can do the face, the changing the color of his face. He was red in that one. Blue would just be as easy. And I'd like to hear his voice. I think he's got that cold, calculating voice to him that he can use. It's a soft toned voice. It's not a harsh thing. It's all soft. People are like, wow, he's.
And again, Thrawn has very sharp features. He is very sharp features. I think his nose is perfect for Thrawn, to be honest.
He has
they wouldn't even really need prosthetics for his nose. They'd be like, nope, we just paint it. Paint it.
Exactly. And I think one thing that would be weird with this is hair on Mark Strong.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird in the Green Lantern, just because most of the time I just haven't seen him with hair anymore. It's
Right.
the movies that
But
he's
I
been,
think it would work out
I think
well.
it could be. You never know.
And I think he'd pull off the red eyes really well too. That's a big thing for him.
He's got that piercing gaze already,
Exactly.
and that's what Thrawn has. So I think that would be a good fit for him. Number 2, Hugo Weaving. Very unlikely that you would get him because he
doesn't like Marvel. So
yeah, he doesn't like Marvel. He didn't like Marvel. He didn't like sitting in the chair for the Red Skull makeup, which I'm assuming would be a lot of makeup for Thrawn.
Yeah.
But God, would he be good at it?
Yeah, I just don't. I think he'd have just as many conflicts with Lucasfilm as he did with Marvel.
Right, exactly. But God, I would love it if Hugo Weaving did. I loved him as V, as Red Skull, Mr. Smith. He's always good. He knows how to do that cool calculating. He knows how to, as the Red Skull, he led an army. He led a force. So boom, again, he's got a Thrawn. He got to lead a force. He's got that commanding voice that is also just so smooth, especially as Elrond in Lord of the Rings. He's got that way about him. Like, he enters a room and people are going to be looking at him. Like,
it's true.
This is how I've always seen Hugo Weaving. I've always loved him as an actor, and the voice, I could see him doing the voice perfectly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dude's got range with his voice. Not as much range as our number 1 pick, which is, but I'm sure somebody's throwing around this one.
Oh yeah, this is actually the most common one.
Yeah,
this is the most
number 1,
commonly
Benedict
thrown one.
Cumberbatch. The dude's got so much range with his voice. Smog and Dormammu sound nothing alike.
Yeah.
And doesn't sound like Doctor Strange. So he's got that vocal range. He's got those sharp features. Again, British, so that helps. Distinguished, and as Khan, he held himself high. And he was able to snap real quick, and then kind of come right back to it.
And I mean, in spite of obviously there's a lot of issues people had, I think, with Into Darkness, but he did a good job as
It's not
Khan.
better than the original Wrath of Khan, don't get me wrong.
I still think he did a good job as Khan. I liked him as that villain.
I liked Into Darkness. I thought it was a well done Star Trek movie.
But you're not as big of a Star Trek fan, so.
Right, yeah. I like Star Trek, but Star Wars is what I live. I think Benedict Cumberbatch would, like everybody else there on the internet, he's one of the best choices. You'd even get even more people to probably watch Mandalorian because you got that name recognition with him.
Right.
I think you'd be a good fit. He's done the thing. Again, I would also, another way, Thrawn thinks a little bit like Sherlock. He's played Sherlock Holmes before, so he knows how to do that thought process and how to portray that thought process with just his face.
Yeah.
He did that a lot as Sherlock, and I think that he could do it a lot because when Thrawn looks at you and he knows that you're lying, he looks at you and gets you to admit that you're lying, and that look upon you and the way that he moved, it's just, I think he would be, again, like everybody else out there, he'd be the best one.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Hugo Weaving too. Those two are really hard
Honestly,
for me.
I think the real reason that Hugo Weaving's number 2 for you is because he wouldn't do it.
I don't want to I don't want to put it up there and then just be crushed. But God, he'd be my number 1 choice in secret.
Seen a lot of cool other interesting choices thrown out there that we don't even have on here. I mean, there's a lot of good ideas.
When we made this list so long ago, and we chose that we didn't want to change it after seeing other people's videos and who they put on there, so we kept it to what ours was. Even though there were some other ones, I'm like, oh, okay, that would actually be pretty interesting.
And of course, a bunch more was like, oh yeah, we said that too. Whoops.
Yeah, but not Matthew McConaughey. I don't know who said that, but no, not Matthew McConaughey. I would not like to see that.
For all we know, they could have already cast Thrawn, but
they could have already done it.
But I just don't know how that wouldn't leak. How would they have already cast him without it leaking? I guess they could just
I'm pretty sure that they already filmed Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker, and we just don't know about it yet. So I'm pretty sure they've already done that in secrecy. They're pretty good about keeping some secrets, at least Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau was. Yeah, Grogu's name was, they had the name in the first season, and nobody leaked that, and that's a huge piece of information.
That's fair.
It would have been, if I was part of that team, it would have been really hard for me not to leak it with everybody calling him Baby Yoda. I would have been losing my mind. There you have it. Those are our thoughts for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Again, comment below. Let us know what you think. And till next time, may the films be with you.